Mermito. Finally, I'm in my office. Hello, Misha. And today is so hot. I swear. You know when it gets too hot and your brain feels like it's melting? It's me. So anyway, I finally moved my tanks. And I'm so happy with the turnout of the colour of the tank that I painted. It's a sapphire acrylic paint called Sapphire, sorry baby. And I'm turning the light on now, but the whole point of me moving my tanks was not only to open up the space in here, but was to actually take advantage of natural light, because basically throughout the day I rephrase that. I just want natural light. Now, two of my goldies are kind of struggling at the moment because of the water parameters are a bit over the place, because I've added a white sand, sugar sand. I used one bag, but I'm going to use a second bag. But I do need to do another water change. I've also got to clean the filter. No. Wow. I think, wow, it's nearly 12 years now from when I first started my fancy goldfish journey. And wow, have we had some times. Haven't we had some times? Yeah. No. So anyway, that's how it turned out, and I'm really happy with it. I've put some plants in there that have grown a bit in the warm tank, in the Corridora tank, and so far so good. The goldfish haven't demolished it too much, but I mean, this is natural light. And I mean, in all honesty, when you look at fish in the wild, they don't have this bright grow light above the water. They've just got the natural sunlight, which gets dippled and dampened out with the green growth within the lake or pond. And the other thing too is I want to save on bills, and also prep for an instance where I don't have to use any electricity to run my tanks. So at some point I am going to be playing around with doing some sort of sump filtering in which I don't need an actual, my canister filters to be plugged in. So I just don't have the time and mind space for doing that right now. I've just got too much on my plate and other priorities, but it's definitely something I'm looking at. The tank lighting for me is pretty much for when I'm doing a cleanup of the tank, and at that time I'm also looking at the health of my fish, and then obviously with recordings. But I thought it would be nice to show what a tank would look like without the actual light on, and I think it's good. I mean, I've just again positioned the tank under the window and in light. So I've done the same thing with my Corridoras. Now I do have more tanks or aquariums in the house, but we're just in the office now. Again, I've got to do a clean up. I've also got to tidy up the plants. They're not fake plants. And hello my quackins. Oh, look at those whiskers. You just too darn stinking cute. You gonna give us a wink? Hi. Hello, good looking. Yeah. So the this one here has damaged one of the barbells. Oh, honey, I know. And part of the problem is the bloody gravel. I'm wanting to get the quartz sand in black, because these are albinos. If I use white, I'll lose my fish, and I like to be able to see them. So I've got two suppliers I know I can get it from, so it's just a matter of juggling what when. But I'll be getting a bag, and I won't remove the actual gravel because it helps weigh down plants. But I'm definitely going to get the black sand. So again, I think for, you know, the purposes of taking photos, recordings, cleaning the tank, it's nice to have the overhead light, but, you know, I think having it off is nice, and just having the natural light, I think, you know, it's more, also more, it's natural, it's more fitting the environment of these critters now, isn't it? So I'm pretty happy with that. But check it out, can you see how the water is like, whoop? That's how uneven my floors are. It is so bad. If I was to look at that waterline being tilted like that, that would just distract me to no end. I do actually want to build my own hutch covers for the aquariums, but again, it will just have to wait. I've got, as a priority, I'm building a new chook house, and the old chook house I'm going to tinker around with it and make it into a duck house. So they've got a house for outside, especially when it gets colder for during the day, but they sleep inside. This is their sleepy box, and I've got a divider in there because the boys are hornbags. They'll be mounting the girls all night. So the only so to stop all that, I've just put a divider. But it's so cute when you look at them and they're sleeping. All their little beaks are facing each other. You know, the boys are facing the girls, and girls are facing the boys, and the beaks are almost touching through the meshes. Like, oh, they're just so damn sweet. My cat's hot and bothered. It's not right, is it, Shah? She's 27 years old. I've had her since she was 4 weeks. 4 or 3 weeks. Had a long journey together, haven't we, darling? Yeah. Been longer with me than any human being, that's for sure. Yeah. Yeah. My best buddy. Yeah. Also have my bike in my office. So that is a bit of an update on my aquariums. As for the office, okay, so my curtains have been a journey. I'm always tweaking things. I've decided I wanted to do some sort of ruffle midway to actually bring up the length of the curtain, because as you can see I've got the tanks near it, so I do really want curtains sort of clashing with the height of the tank that much, and one way of doing it is by bringing up the length of the curtains. So I've just put some dress pins in there for now. This mirror was here when you walked in, you could see from there. I've put it above the heater. I think it's better there. I originally had my pentagram that I made up there, but I like this because now when you look in the mirror and you sort of got, you know, pentagram reflected, and it's like I've got 2 instead of 1. So the other thing I wanted to do with my office space was make it more suited for my crafting as well. So I created this nook for basically all my yarn, crafting, sewing machine, buttons, knitting needles, on and on it goes. My desk, I do want to get another 1 or 2 of these files, and I've just got this is actually an old recycled closet, and I've just taken the 2 doors and used them as tabletops. I do want to give them a paint though. These here are actually DVD shelves that I've used as a, you know, just as a shelf tower. And I've got botanical prints up in here. These are macrames I've made over the past 10 years. I've got more botanicals up here. I made this, it's not actual macrame, it's actually crochet, pineapple stitch pot holder, and I want to make a second one to put up there. And I've got 2 resident spideys. Hello spideys, don't know if the camera is picking it, it's probably looking like 2 dots. Good old daddy little long leg spiders. They're okay, they eat the flies and the mosquitoes. I'm just looking at the time on my camera. Now my washing machine's beeping at me. There's so many little things I want to get that will negate my need to use electricity. So like a good old fashioned washing rack thing as well. I know, so technical. But I think I'll share some of the stuff I've got with my yarn. So I'm not finished with my entire setup here. And I've got framed here on my tips that I made for working through multiple whips or large projects, garn projects. I'll add a link to that blog post in this comment in the description of this vlog. But I'm going to do another one which is going to be kind of a surprise. And when I've done it, I will do an update of this room and I'll share it then. And it's on the similar lines of tips for working through multiple whips and big whips. Whips, if people don't know, I don't mean like sadist sort of thing. Whip is an acronym when you're looking at garn as for works in progress. Whips, works in progress, or a whip, work in progress. That's what that means. No, knitters don't have a whipping fetish. Well, that's what is not what that means anyway. So there's that. But I definitely haven't finished in here, but I'm pretty happy with layout. I'm going to do a cover for my bean bag. I've got 2 bean bags like this. They're armchair ones. I'm not flash on the zebra print, but it's just the only print they had at the time, and I just think it's an awesome bean bag. I don't like bean bags that don't have a lot of structure and you're just falling everywhere. Sort of drive me a bit nuts, but that's so cool. I love this. I love using mirrors that make the room look like it's double the space and plays with patterns that are reflected on the other side. I really do love that. But definitely a lot of work to do in here still. I was going to do a vlog on sharing the whips I've got going on. Should I still do that, or is it a little bit too dark in here still? And I've also got my London clock up there. I'm sort of going everywhere at the moment with my thoughts. I'm really wanting to get into a space as well where I have a lot of things that are like kind of like manual and not electric driven. So I like having a clock in every room that doesn't require electricity, like not the computer, relying on the computer to see the time, that sort of thing, or an alarm clock. I was trying to put this pot up in a way that I can, now I'm gonna have to hold it. I still got a long way to go, but you know, it's one of those things. I think, like even myself, sometimes you can get disheartened thinking, oh my gosh, there's so much to prep for, there's so much to get, so much to do, and if you do that too much, you're human, you're going to do it some. But if you do it too much, you can psych yourself out, and that time you could have used, you know, in getting shit done. You would have wasted it in, you know, thinking, oh, how am I going to do this, and, you know, defeating yourself before you've even really started or stopped yourself from what you've been doing, your continuation. So anyway, just take your time with it, I guess. And these are the feathers from my ducks, bar a parrot that I had come down, and he had some beautiful colourings. He left me a feather. And yeah, I love having that touch, you know, of my animals with me at all times. I mean, hello, I'm in my office, I've got my aquariums, and at night my duckies are sleeping in the crib. I usually play Asmere and that sort of thing too on the computer. They're very spoiled duckies. But yeah, no, I'll do a separate post of what all my, it was episode 8 and I decided to re-record it because it was just too dark. I recorded in my bedroom. And I want to share the whips I'm up to. So what I might do is get this project done, and then when I've done that, I'll do a recording on my whips in here, but probably earlier in the day because it's like 7 o'clock now, so it's still daylight but not enough good light, natural light, for the purpose of showing knitting and crochet whips I'm on to, and some stuff that I've acquired for my organization of my crafting stuff for my stuff. That sounds weird. Anyway, I think my brain's a little bit melted from the sun today, and I've got duckies to hose down to play catch the sprinkle, catch the sprinkler with, give some noodle woodles. I've got their crib to clean out and get ready for tonight, and then by the time I do all that, it will be probably time for me to bring them in, put them in their bathtub for an hour to play as I do stuff, usually clean up in the kitchen, and then it just repeats. I think that's the thing that people kind of probably don't realise or take for granted is when you have animals, it's not just one-off care, it's the daily care, the monthly care, the yearly care. It's a long-term commitment. And yes, my easel's in here because this is also, you know, I've got I'm going to create something shelf-like to put all my pencil boxes in that I can store underneath my easel. Probably at the time when I get around to finally building up hutches for the tanks. But you know, it's that constant. I mean, first thing in the morning, like, I don't know, not first thing, between 9 and 11 o'clock every day, my day's just gone cleaning out and caring for all my animals and tending to them every day. It doesn't matter if it's raining, the sun's melting your brain, or it's just a shitty windy day. You still got to do it, you know. So, but I love my critters and my family, so it's a non-argument. You just got to do what you got to do. I wouldn't be me. My life wouldn't be worth living without nature and my critters that represent it. You know, just I love the natural human experience, and people can do what they like, but I'm not giving that up for nobody and nothing. That's it for me. Blessed be Mary Part. My battery is now flashing. So consideration and the turnout of my tanks on using just natural lighting, saving on the bill, mimicking the environment more naturally to what your aquatic life is used to, I guess. Isn't that right, Sha? She's hot and bothered. Oh, am I going to have time for my battery? I've also keep my bike inside. I'm going to yarn bomb it, which I'll share the journey. But I'm getting a bike trainer as well for the 80% of the year where you can't go outside because it's just shit, raining, windy, or it's just like melting your brain with the heat, sun. And I want to get the trainer up in here so it's good for my hips, because I had a hip reconstruction after I was attacked on the road by a car back in 2012. And part of rehab is to constantly be mobilising the hip joints, so the reconstructed site and everything. And I haven't been doing that, so it's on my list to get a bike trainer to at least do that inside, so the weather's not an excuse. I've made this space nice and big and clear so I can actually stretch in the middle as well, which I need to get back into a routine of. I used to be a stretch, yoga and Pilates instructor. And I also use that in my rehab, which is forever. I'm permanently disabled, so it's one way of maintaining that is a constant physical rehab, because you're never quite the same as everyone else in function, even if you might look it. Not an excuse to let yourself go. Blessed be Mary Part. Keep sane, keep safe. And yeah, if you do have aquariums, consider positioning your tanks in places where you can just use natural light and enjoy the savings, and see how your critters react as well to the more natural environment. And I'm really interested to see what happens with the plants as well. Blessed be, and Mary Part. You say goodbye, Sha? No, she couldn't be bothered.